Chapter 6. We move back to Sarubia to find Braux and Cilia in the Great Sarubian Institute of Learning, the school responsible for bringing up of the Sarubians, its school grounds itself stretching over 305 million square kilometers. It was this big, because it was split to hold all the schoolgoers of Sarubia, separated into 4 sections. The kindergartners, who started school at age 101 to 200, then graduate kindergarten at 1,000 years old to move to middle school, the kindergarten section being to the north, age 1,001 to 10,000 being middle school, which was situated to the south, age 10,001 to 50,000, being the high schoolers, situated to the east, age 50,001 to 100,000, being the final stage of Sarubian school, being the students, situated to the west. And once they've graduated, they become what they refer to as elites, an elite being one who has completed all 4 stages and are now free to choose what they want to do with their lives. Think of it as selecting a career for themselves. In school, the Sarubian get to learn the basics, such as reading and writing, but also how to get better control over their abilities. Then they learn more of their world and species together with the existence of other worlds, such as the others in their solar system, together with the existences of other universes out there. We find the siblings about to move through one of 4 huge open gates, with other children and kids rushing to their designated school zones, others flying, others running, with older-looking Sarubians situated at the gate, directing the schoolgoers through their designated gates without much trouble, as they were safely led through them. Braux and Cilia are then stopped by someone calling out to them. Girl's voice. Cilia, Braux, hold up a sec. With the 2 looking back to see a small girl flying towards them, about the same height as Thraxa, just a couple centimeters taller. Cilia, realizing who it is. Daphney, how have you been? Before Daphney could answer, another girl's voice called out. Girl's voice. Sis, wait for me. As she comes flying and slams right into a telekinetic field. Owie, that hurt. You could have just caught me in her arms, you know, she says, caressing her nose. Daphney, oh, come on, Valerie, it didn't hurt that bad. Valerie, yeah, but you could have just caught me, you know, she says. Daphney, okay, fine, I'll catch you next time, she says, then turns to Cilia. So, know where my darling is? Cilia, oh, Thraxa, Dad sent him out again this morning. Daphney, what? But he just got back. I've only had under a week with him. She sighs. Braux, well, you know how our father is, but for some reason this time, he sent Thraxa to another human world, a weaker one than he usually sends him to, so he'll be back soon, I think. Valerie, and what of Klein? Any idea when he'll be back? She asks. Cilia, Mum and Dad says they don't really know when Klein and his group will be back, as Valerie's face goes solemn. But I bet you both Klein and Thraxa are going to be returning around the same time. Valerie, a sparkle coming to her eyes. Really, that makes me happy to hear. Daphney, well, guess all we got to do now is wait. Come on. Valerie, let's get to class, she says as Valerie nods, flying behind her, with them heading towards the gate for the middle schoolers. Valerie, catch you guys later, she says, waving off Cilia and Braux, with them also making their way through the high schoolers' gates. Moments later, we come to find Daphney in class, nose deep in what looked to be a novel before class starts, for her sister was in a different class than hers, with a boy walking up to her. Boy, hi, Daphney. Daphney not even acknowledging the boy, she simply flips over the next page of her book, continuing to read. Say, are you busy after class? He asks as a teacher walks in class, Daphney proceeding to place a bookmark in the page she was in. Daphney, huh? Finally seeing the boy next to her. Oh, it is just you again, Rex. Didn't I tell you my heart already belongs to another? Do I have to spell his name out to you for the 500th time? It's Thraxa, his name is Thraxa. Now, would you get that through your skull and stop trying? She says in a cold tone. Rex, but what do you even see in that guy? He is never even here. As the teacher clears her throat, Rex looking towards the teacher. Rex, sorry, he says, moving to his seat with Daphney paying attention to the teacher, as if the conversation never even happened. We move back to Earth in the Arctic to see a secret base It was home to the strongest group of heroes on Earth, consisted of the top 10 strongest heroes on the planet, led by a Kenyan female who goes by the name Daina. We find her in what appears to be a meeting room, with 9 other seats around the long table, with 8 blue holograms seated at the seats. 1 left empty, her being the only one who was physically there as the 9th. The other 8 weren't there, for they were within their respective countries. Daina, don't worry. I won't let it play out like it did 10 years ago. 4th hero. Well, that's not the issue. 6th hero, the alien kid, has already made contact with her. 2nd, and by the looks of it, a fight is about to break out. Diana, I'm well aware I have Yvonne watching them. I'll step in if things go wrong. They are within the Sahara right now. 9th hero. You are a bit too calm about this. Last time Esther fought someone, we lost an entire continent. Shouldn't you be stopping them from even attempting to fight, given what we've seen of the boy as well? Dinah, I know that, but trust me when I say I just have a feeling this Esther isn't the same one that was 10 years ago. 10th hero. She has already blown up the base of a mountain. Diana, yeah, but no one was injured. The officer was well and is back with his family as we speak. But if all of you are that worried, I'll get over there, meeting adjourned, as the holograms start to fade away one by one. We move to the desert to see both Thraxa and Esther just staring each other down, the tension palpable in the air. Thraxa. Well, are we just going to stay here awkwardly staring at each other? Esther. Do something about it, warm up, she says, agitating Thraxa with her words. Thraxa hears this and wastes no time moving in swiftly with a devastating punch, causing a huge shockwave, a massive dust cloud rising up. As it clears, we see Esther had effortlessly caught Thraxa's punch. Esther, her a fast one, bringing him in for a punch straight to the gut that sends Thraxa flying a good distance back, only to be met with Esther, who caught him by the back of his head, slamming him to the ground, causing formation of a massive crater, with Esther stomping on Thraxa's back, expanding the crater with the force of the stomp. Just then, we see heat waves enveloping the area, the sand around starting to turn to glass. We then see the bottom of Esther's foot being the source of the rise in heat, with fire erupting from it, then turning into a massive pillar of flames, filling the entire crater. Thraxa. With the fire dying down, Thraxa was still below Esther's foot, the air around them now burnt up and molten, but both fighters unscathed. I see why you were the number 2 title, says then sighs. Guess it's my turn now, he says, rising up, pushing Esther off him, and in that instance appears above her, yanking her by the hair, tossing her over his head, into slamming her hard on the surface, deepening the crater. But Thraxa wasn't done yet, with him coming on top of Esther with a double kick right to the chest area, with Esther instinctively guarding her chest with her arms, the impact of the blow sending her plummeting further into the earth. Mere seconds later, Thraxa felt the ground shaking, with a huge portion of the surface rising with him on top of it, for we see Esther from underground had lifted the entire area, equal to a small mountain, out of the surface, then proceeds to flip it over to crush Thraxa underneath it. But as she was going to do so, she found herself appearing in front of Thraxa, caught by him at the neck, the piece of land now below them. Esther. Teleportation, she says to herself with a grin, with her receiving a mean uppercut to the chin, which sends her flying to the skies. This kid is full of surprises, she says now, finding herself had reached just above the clouds, with Thraxa appearing above her, and gave Esther no time to react, with Thraxa starting to move so fast around Esther. He created perfect speed mirages, which in turn threw a flurry of attacks at the defenseless Esther, with her again, instinctively, only shielding her chest area with her arms, the mirages moving so fast that they start to appear as constant flashing light source at Esther's body. The attacks from Thraxa were so fast, the air around them started to turn to plasma, with the plasma starting to expand outwards, but then the plasma stops travelling further out as it all starts collecting into a massive sphere of plasma in the air, with the plasma airspace now enclosed in this sphere, preventing the plasma from leaking out, this sphere being a blinding electric blue light. Just then, a dark blur shoots out of the sphere, crashing into the desert surface in a massive dust cloud. We move to the crash to see it was Thraxa. Thraxa getting up. Guess that made her mad. with a smile on his face as he looks up to the sky. I'm surprised she could take light-speed attacks, especially multiple of them. I knew she was strong, but she's exceeding my expectations. We see a flashback of what occurred within the plasma space, the countless flashes of light still hitting at Esther, and with still one arm protecting over her chest area, used her free arm to instantly backhand at the flashing lights all at the same time, which resulted in Thraxa getting hit out of the plasma space. Esther's voice. I haven't felt like this in a long time, with the plasma space now just a couple of feet above the ground, as it starts compressing and shrinking, revealing a naked Esther with simple tiny scratches throughout her body. The only piece of clothing left on her body being the white cloth she had tied around her chest area, which she still had an arm protecting over it, with her other arm now holding the shrunken plasma at her palm, with her standing on what looked like a line of fire. She looks down at Thraxa with him looking up back at her. Thraxa, did I tell you that you reek? He says. Esther, a vein popping at her foreheading. Well, of course I do. I can't even remember the last time I had a bath, she says, as fire consumes her, then fades away to reveal her fully clothed once again, with the tiny scratches she had now healed up. But that aside, with her staring at the plasmasphere at her palm, then crushes it to form a fist. I don't know of telekinesis capable of manipulating space itself. Thraxa, well, we call it telekinesis as just a name for it. The power itself is control over space, Thraxa says. Esther, impressive! She suddenly disappears, then instantly reappears at Thraxa's face with a mean punch, as she landed a hit on Thraxa's face, driving his head to the ground, but Thraxa teleports himself out of there, appearing behind Esther, who looks behind herself to see Thraxa holding his hands out, having his finger formed to mimic a gun-like gesture, as he proceeds to fire out invisible pockets of space, with Esther closing her eyes, as we see in slow motion her dodging them, through sheer instinct alone. She continues to evade the invisible shots. As she charges at Thraxa, she reaches him, with them clashing forearm to forearm. But Thraxa then headbutts Esther right on the nose, leaving her dazed for a bit, Thraxa following it up with a hammer punch to the skull, sending her going down to the ground with a massive thud, causing yet another wide crater. Esther, scratching the back of her head, recovering. This kid hits hard. Before she even finishes her sentence, Thraxa came from above, crashing right into her, and it appeared that Thraxa landed a devastating blow. For the impact caused was so massive, it expanded the crater deeper and wider, raising yet another cloud of sand. It clears, and we come to the center of the crater to see Esther had caught Thraxa dive, and was still standing, her feet slightly buried beneath the surface. She caught both of Thraxa's fists, as he dove at her the way he did, halting the attack. Thraxa then senses something above him. He looks up, where we go above the clouds to see sparks of fire flaring up in the sky. Esther pulls Thraxa in, grabs him by the arm, slamming him on the ground several times. The impact freeing her legs, then sets him up, proceeding to clothesline him, leaving him spinning mid-air rapidly. But Thraxa uses that momentum for a counter, kicking Esther in the midsection, sending Esther to the sky once again. Thraxa stops himself spinning and instantly uses his telekinesis, starting to pull Esther back down towards him. He then flew upwards to meet Esther, with him setting up his feet, which came in collision with Esther's face. The sheer force of the kick clearing out the entire sky of clouds. We see an outer view of Earth, the clouds parting over the entirety of Africa, and Esther simply tanked the attack, for it did little to no visible damage on her, with her smiling at Thraxa, who looks behind Esther to see the sparks from before now becoming a fire, with the fire then turning into a massive atomic bomb that covered the sky above them, causing a massive shadow on them. The massive bomb having Esther's face at its side, it then started falling towards them. Thraxa. Wow, he says in awe. Esther pushes Thraxa's feet from her face palms Thraxa as she dives the both of them back to the surface, with them coming like a crashing comet, them nuke crashing where they fell, it detonating on top of them, a massive explosion. The explosion expanding to cover about 60 kilometers worth of desert in radius and forming a giant mushroom cloud stretching over 250,000 feet in the sky. We moved back to USHA HQ, where they were witnessing the fight via satellite. Jackie, y'all think it's finally over? The others just stare at the screen in awe at the battle they just witnessed. George, who was looking at the footage with keen, decisive eyes. This isn't the same Esther from 10 years ago. Suddenly, he receives a call from his earpiece. Woman's voice. I know her watching this too. As we see Daina in the desert, a reasonable distance away from the fight, with the shockwave of the explosion slightly reaching her, with her covering her eyes from the incoming wave of sand, then looks to the massive mushroom cloud in the distance. The look on Esther's face, she says, pausing for a moment. It's not the battle-crazed woman from 10 years ago. Her smile here is different from the one back then. George, so she truly has changed. Never thought the day would come. Daina, same here. We see Fidel with a tear in his eye, and he couldn't believe what he was hearing. End.